We'll start. You can all hear me well? Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidam. So, Hari Om to everyone, and as I said earlier, I'm very happy to be here and I'm very grateful for this opportunity. This time I am here for a curriculum retreat and we are covering Bhagavan Ganesha, Ganesha Mahima. This is the theme of the summer camp, and so the chicks are preparing the curriculum for that, and last night we had our first session. So today I will be continuing along those lines. I will do a little bit of revision and then we will move forward. When we think of Bhagavan Ganesha, as Puja Gurudev said, Bhagavan Ganesha is that one ultimate reality, that Atma, that Sakshi in the three states. And that not only is that the Sakshi of the three states, but the Adhisthana, or the substratum of the entire world, which is Brahman. With name and form, Brahman comes as Sri Ganesha. Ganapati, Pati means the Lord of Ganas. Ganas, Shiva Ganas, the Lord of the Shiva Ganas, but subjectively the Lord of our Ganas, which are our sense organs and our mind. So Ganapati subjectively is our intellect. And yesterday we talked about how Bhagavan Ganesha, just looking at him, one gets a wealth of information and insight as to what it is to be a great leader, a great being. So Sri Ganesha, we started with his elephant head, which symbolizes a big vision. Bhagavan Shiva took his smaller head, his ego, his small ego, and he took it and he replaced it and he gave him a bigger vision. And that's the beauty of that story. So now Bhagavan Ganesha has the ability to see divinity and to recognize divinity wherever it appears. Just like how Bhagavan Shiva appeared in front of him. Before he couldn't recognize Bhagavan Shiva, but now he's able to because of his big vision. And then we saw that Bhagavan Ganesha has a curved trunk, and the trunk shows us adaptability. It's able to discriminate and actually pick up something so gross, like an oak tree, and something so subtle, like a needle, a haystack. And we saw that he has two tusks initially, but then one gets broken. And I'm sure everybody knows the story of the Mahabharata. And the idea that Gurudev gives us is Bhagavan Ganesha becomes Dvandvatita. He goes beyond the pairs of opposites, beyond joy and sorrow, beyond punya papa, beyond heat and cold, beyond ups and downs, life and death. He goes beyond it, and that's why he has one tusk. And we also saw that he has huge ears because he has the ability to listen. He has the ability to listen and to also absorb. And so we've so far seen just the face of Sri Ganesha. And just contemplating on that is enough for a lifetime. Even one aspect is enough for a lifetime. But our rishis are so wonderful that every single part of our gods and goddesses symbolizes something so deep. So if any part, not only do we have many forms of Bhagavan and Bhagavati, but there's so many different parts of Bhagavan and Bhagavati that if we even just take one part and contemplate on that one part, so many things can happen. So it's not just many forms and many names, but many, many significances in each and every part. So we will see now Bhagavan Ganesha's 4 arms. The first arm, he has 2 upper arms and 2 lower arms. The first arm, he holds an axe of detachment. Asanga shastrena dridena chitva. Right? We see the Bhagavad Gita. Now, how did Bhagavan Ganesha get an axe? That's also an interesting story. So before we go into the symbolism of the axe, we'll find out how Ganesha got this axe. So if you remember, there was this Parashurama. You all remember Parashurama? Parashurama, he vowed to avenge the death of his father. And so he wanted to vanquish all the Kshatriyas 21 times. Wanted to vanquish all the Kshatriyas. And he did tapasya to Bhagavan Shiva. And Bhagavan Shiva gave him a parashu. Parashu means axe. So he's called Parashurama. So this Parashurama, he did everything that he was supposed to do. He vanquished all the Kshatriyas and he wanted to go see Bhagavan Shiva. Okay, so he's on his way to Bhagavan Shiva, but who's standing there? Ganesha. Again, Ganesha stands guard. And Parashurama says, I want to go see Bhagavan Shiva. I am his disciple. He gave me this axe. I did so much tapasya, he gave me this axe, so let me go see him. Ganesha says, no. First, I have to go seek his permission. Then I will inform him that you're here and then I can let you in. Parashurama says, no. There doesn't need to be that formality. I'm his disciple. I can go anytime. Ganesha said, no. And Parashurama took his axe and he fought with Ganesha. He fought with Ganesha and Ganesha also tried to whirl him around. But Parashurama was using his axe and now Parashurama hit Ganesha with the axe and one tusk broke. Single tusk, Ganapati. So this is another reason why the tusk broke. And Ganesha he let himself be hit. He said, okay, never mind. Meanwhile, Parvati Devi came. And she yelled at Parashurama. She said, what are you doing? This Bhagavan Ganesha, he's so strong. He can vanquish you in one moment. But do you know, he loves his father so much. He knows that the axe is from his father. And so therefore, he let himself be hit by it. He didn't want to destroy the axe of his father. He didn't want to undermine the power of his father's axe. So he let himself be hit by it. But without that, Ganesha would have pinned you down. And Parashurama felt so sad that he sought blessings from Ganesha and he gave Ganesha that axe. So he gave Ganesha that axe and that's when Parashurama stopped all of his killing and he sat down and he did tapasya. So now Ganesha has this beautiful axe. What does it symbolize for us? It's the breaking of attachment. Now this term attachment, we hear all the time in our scriptures. In case we didn't know, the main message is get moksha now, realize the truth now, and to do that, we have to cut down attachment, break attachment, let go of attachment, right? So, what is this attachment? Gurudev beautifully always defines it as I plus I want. Attachment is the notion that something or somebody can give me happiness. It is the notion that something or someone can give me happiness. And because I have that notion, I depend on that person. So I'm going to give an example of a person first so we can see it clearly. I depend on that person. What happens when I depend on that person for my happiness? I am afraid to lose that person. I become afraid because that person is my happiness. Now, if I lose that person, what will happen? And because I'm afraid to lose that person, I will do whatever they want. Whatever that person wants me to do, I will do. It doesn't matter if it's adharma. So even if it's wrong, I'll do it because I'm afraid to lose that person. And out of that fear, I commit adharma. And then what do I feel after that? I feel guilty. I know that that's not my character. I know I'm not supposed to do that, but yet I did it. I was helpless. And because of that guilt, what happens? We feel regret. We feel regret. Our whole mind is just regretting. And in that regret, we are drowning in sorrow. So this one act of attachment, right? What it does to us is it creates dependency on that person. Then it gives us fear because we don't want to lose that person. And then it makes us also do adharma, makes us do something wrong because sometimes that person won't always do what's right and we'll have to do something wrong. Then when we do adharma, we begin to feel guilty, we regret, and we drown in sorrow. And this can be very clearly seen in who? Dhritarashtra. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yutsavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva. Right? Kimakurvata sanjaya. So Dhritarashtra was so attached to Duryodhana, he was so afraid of losing him, that even if it was adharma, he still committed it. He still committed adharma because he was afraid to lose Duryodhana. And of course, we all know, he felt so guilty, he regretted his actions to the point that Dhritarashtra couldn't sleep. He couldn't sleep. And that's why Vidur Niti was there. Vidurji had to come and give him advice because he was feeling so sorrowful. So Bhagavan Ganesha, his acts symbolizes the cutting of this kind of attachment. Cutting of this kind of attachment. It's not saying don't interact with people and beings and things. Fully interact. But don't depend on them for permanent happiness because that's not what they do. Family will not provide permanent happiness. Relationships will not provide permanent happiness. Career will not provide it because they're not cut out to do that. So don't expect them to do that. They will not. What will provide us permanent happiness is our very own self. And that's what we can always depend on. So that's what we should depend on fully. And depending on that fully, then be amongst everybody, be amongst things and objects. There's nothing wrong with that. So now, the hard part of this, cutting down attachment or being detached is, we cannot cut down attachment unless we are attached to something higher. We cannot detach unless we are attached to something higher. And once when Somebody asked Gurudev, could you please tell me Vedanta in one sentence? He said, detached from the world and attached to God. So the second hand now, the second upper hand is a rope. And that rope symbolizes attachment, but attachment to the higher. So the axe is detachment from the lower, the rope is attachment to the higher. Now what are the things that we can attach to? What are things we should attach to? Attach to those things that will make us detached. Huh? Those people who will make us detached, you attach to them. Who is that? Bhagavan. Bhagavan is so beautiful. We attach to Bhagavan. Bhagavan will say, detached from me now, I have the same truth in you. Attached to Guru. Guru will say, now enough, you have listened to all the scriptures and everything, now you go and live your life. And you also teach people, you detach. Shastra, we attach to Shastra, we keep our scriptures with us. And the scriptures will say, okay, now that you've learned all the scriptures and the scriptures are in you, detach, let go. Because at the highest point of realization, even books are a distraction. Even listening is a distraction. Even contemplating is a distraction. Satsang, satsangate, visangatam. Even satsang, we attach in satsang and it tells us, visangatam. You also be detached. So the things that we should be attached to are the things that will make us detached from them. Then we know we're in safe territory. Because they're not trying to hold us, keep us, secure us, store us. They're actually trying to teach us to be independent of them. And that's such a beautiful thing. And when we think about satsang, why is it so important for us? You know, that's one of the great things that we can always be attached to. Why is it so important for us? Sometimes we feel like every week is the same thing, we're learning. But I tell you, satsang prevents us from dropping the quest. Where else will you go if you won't come here? Costco, Starbucks, right? You go to all these places, but for what? To sustain this quest, we have to keep ourselves inspired. So might as well keep ourselves inspired in satsang, in the company of truth. Because when we keep doing that, it prevents us from slipping. It reminds us that, hey, life is about seeking the truth. Seeking the truth, seeking God sometimes can take a back seat. We have to be very careful. Life can get so busy with school, with college, with work, with friends, with social engagements, and seeking takes a back seat all the way there, and we forget about it. When we are constantly in satsang, seeking takes a front seat to remind us, this is what life is about, this is what we're supposed to do. Are we still doing it? Are we still on the path? Are we walking? That's what satsang does. So that attachment to satsang is key. The attachment to Guru is also key. To Puja Gurudev. Why? Because he is in whom we see what this knowledge looks like. We're studying it, we're reading it, but to be able to see what this knowledge looks like, we need a live representation of this knowledge. And that live representation of knowledge is Guru. And that's why we had Gurukula system. We didn't have a school. We had a Gurukula system because children, teens, even we learn from when we see how others do things. Whenever I come here, I learn so much just by being with Swami Dhiranandaji. So many things, just by watching how he speaks, how he interacts. And it's such a powerful lesson, much more than what I could read in volumes of books. Then attachment to Bhagavan. attachment to Bhagavan is also very key, because Bhagavan keeps our mind in that which is divine. Otherwise, where our mind goes in so much garbage, right? So much garbage. How much garbage do we expose our minds to daily? And we are only doing that because we are not exposing it to something higher. So the name of Bhagavan, the form of Bhagavan, now you all have the chanting of Ramcharitmanas, right? So everybody can come. Why not? Such a beautiful thing for our mind to think. Attaching to Bhagavan. And of course, attaching to Shastra, our guide in life. Somebody might ask, there are good people in the world, and it doesn't really matter. Do we really have to read scriptures? Can't we just be good and kind and nice and peaceful? Can we just do that and not read scriptures? We can, but scriptures teach us how to unfold to our fullest potential. That's the key of Shastra. And our fullest potential is that we are already infinite. That only Shastra can tell us. So cutting down attachment with the axe, then attaching to those that will make us detached, the rope. And now Ganesha, Sri Ganesha has two hands on the bottom. What is his next hand? Everybody knows it's a very famous sweet of Ganesha. We're going to make it this afternoon. Modaka, right? Modaka hastane. Modaka. Now, how did Sri Ganesha get to like modakas? There is a story. Anasuya Devi, the wife of Atri Rishi, invited Bhagavan Shiva's family for a nice meal. And this time Ganesha was still young, Bala Ganesha. And so he had just been born. So of course, Anasuya Devi, she said, I want to invite the whole family here. I want to celebrate the baby. And so she cooked lots of delicacies for the whole family. But she said, first, I'm going to feed Ganesha, my Bala Ganesha, because she was very, very happy, new baby, she wants to feed him. So she's feeding him, and she cooked so many things, but this Ganesha is not becoming full. He's eating so much. He has the starters, then appetizers, then main course, and then next part of the main course, and she's just troubled. And meanwhile, Bhagavan Shiva is very hungry. So Bhagavan Shiva gives her the look, and she's like, okay, I'll do something. I'll do something. So she prepares this very special sweet. A very, very special sweet. Now, what is that sweet? It's a triangle-looking sweet. It's a modak. She prepares it and she gives it to Ganesha. Ganesha eats that modaka, and what happens? He burps. He burps so loudly, and at that time, Bhagavan Shiva burps 21 times. And so Ganesha is full and Bhagavan Shiva is also full. So Parvati Devi said, what is this that you were feeding him? And Anasuya Devi said, it's called modaka. And Parvati Devi said, from here on, everybody should offer 21 modakas to Bhagavan Ganesha. You must always keep him full. Keep him full so that he doesn't eat everything. And so that's why he loves modaka. And modaka symbolizes manaha prasada, means the calmness of the mind. It symbolizes that peace that we get. Because prasad is something that we get when we go to a temple, right? Whatever you get, you don't get upset. Whether raisinets or jelly beans, you don't get upset, right? The same way, in life, the real prasad is whatever we get, whether we like it or don't like it, our mind is peaceful and calm. So it's that calmness of mind, it's that peace of mind which is represented by the modaka. And the modaka is pointing upwards. Why? Because whenever our mind is pointing upwards, we will always be at peace. So it's also made in such a way to tell us that, hey, you will only be peaceful You will only really enjoy this modaka if the mind is pointing upward. In the seeker's path, as the seeker detaches and detaches from the lower, attaches to something higher, the seeker begins to feel a sense of peace. Now, what is this sense of peace that a seeker starts to feel? When we look upwards, when we turn upwards, we feel a sense of peace in terms of, I'm going to share 5 R's. This is the kind of peace that we feel. One is, there is regularity. There is regularity in what we do. So we have a disciplined routine, we have a way of doing things, and there's regularity. This regularity gives the seeker a lot of peace. A lot of peace because when we're already disciplined in the body level, then it becomes so much easier to do things. We don't get stressed out. Otherwise, if we're not disciplined in our eating, in our sleeping, in our waking up, we become too stressed out. So regularity is an expression of peace. What else is an expression of peace? An expression of peace is being able to respond and not react. So before, our question to Bhagavan whenever something happens, it might have been, oh, why me? Bhagavan, why me? But now, okay, Bhagavan, try me. Let's see what happens. So we're able to respond to things better. We're not reacting. The third R, which gives us a sense of peace, is we're able to rebound quickly. So let's say something happens before. Let's say when somebody would yell at us before, it would take us days to overcome that. We wouldn't know how to overcome that yelling. Or if somebody avoided us or ignored us, it would take us days to deal with it. If somebody cut us off in the highway, it would take us hours of thinking about it. But quick to rebound means now it may take only a few minutes, a few moments, or a few seconds. This ability to rebound quickly, that gives the seeker a lot of peace. A lot of peace. The fourth R I'm going to share then is the recurrence of previous problems. So maybe before I had such a tough time disciplining my sleep. I had such a tough time disciplining it that I would always stay up late. But now that doesn't bother me so much anymore. Or before I had such a tough time, when my child would ignore me or not talk to me or not call me. But now I'm okay with it. It's okay. So certain things, when they reoccur, they don't bother us that much anymore. And the last R is being reflective. That gives us a lot of peace. That gives us a lot of peace when we become more reflective. Meaning, when something happens, we're not just asking, why did he do that? Why did she do that? Why did they say this? Why did they do like this? We're not just seeking to ask from people outside or assess people outside, but we're actually thinking, what could I have done better? What could I have done better? What could I have said? What should I have not done? We become more reflective. This gives us peace. This is the modaka. When we have regularity, when we are able to respond instead of react harshly, when we're able to bounce back rebound quickly, when we have less reoccurrence of previous things that used to bother us, and when we become reflective, we feel a lot of peace. This is a modaka. And when we detach from the lower, attach to the higher, and start gaining a sense of peace, what happens? Bhagavan Ganesha shows us Abhay Mudra. He blesses us. He blesses us. A life full of blessings, a life of fearlessness. What are the blessings that he gives us? See, when can Bhagavan truly bless? When can we be really able to receive blessings? So Swami Tapovan Maharaj Ji, he shares this so beautifully in this text called Guidance from the Guru. And he says the first part of the blessing is Atma Kripa. Atma Kripa literally means the grace of one's own self. The first blessing is that we are able to put forth our own effort. We are able to actually put forth effort to seek, and we start walking the path. That is called Atma Kripa. When we put forth effort to start walking the path, to better ourselves, to pray, to commune with Bhagavan, to develop that relationship with Bhagavan, what happens is Ishvara Kripa. We get the grace of Bhagavan. Because Bhagavan gets very, very pleased when we start putting forth effort. When we start doing, Bhagavan gets so pleased with us. Get Ishvara Kripa. And how do we know that Bhagavan is pleased with us? Guru Kripa. Bhagavan sends to us Guru. That Bhagavan who comes Gochara, right in the ken of our senses, in front of us, as that teacher who can actually guide us, who can actually show us how to walk the path. That is called Guru Kripa. Bhagavan becomes pleased. If he becomes pleased, he sends to us Guru. And when we have Guru Kripa, how do we know if the Guru is pleased with us? The Guru reveals to us Shastra. We have Shastra Kripa. The Guru reveals to us not just any Shastra, the depth of the Shastra. Tattvam Asi. Prajnanam Brahma. Who we really are. The Guru reveals that to us. And how do we know that we have Shastra Kripa? The grace of the Shastra. How do we know? We have Mukti. We realize the self. And that is the greatest blessing. That is the blessing. All the forms of God and Goddess, they are standing like this. That is the blessing of realization. May we attain that blessing of realization through these four graces. The grace of Atma, Atma Kripa, praying to Ishvara, getting Ishvara Kripa, then Ishvara gives us that Guru Kripa, Guru gives us Shastra Kripa, through that Shastra we attain Mukti. So in this way, Bhagavan Ganesha's four arms shows us all that we need to live life. Nothing more than this is required. Nothing more than this is required. Detach from the lower, attach to the higher, have that sense of peace, develop that sense of peace, and when you do, you are able to put forth effort in your spiritual quest. Right? You're able to put forth effort for a healthy body, pure mind, brilliant intellect, for a spiritual quest. And then we get the blessing of Mukti. Thus Ganesha's arms. Now, Ganesha has a very big belly. Big belly. Yes, he likes to eat a lot. He likes to eat a lot. And those who contemplate on him, they also eat a lot. They also eat a lot. Because what you do upasana on, that's what happens. That it's so funny. Really, I don't know if this is coincidence or what, but one time I was doing a talk on Hanumanji. So I was reading about Hanumanji, reading about Hanumanji. And that day, Bhiksha came. Now it was for 2 meals. That day, Bhiksha came for 2 meals. In 1 meal, I finished everything. I said, I need more food. And more food came. And then recently, Bhiksha came for me also on Thursday. I was thinking of Sri Ganesha. Again for 2 meals. Again, I finished everything in 1 meal. I said, no, I need more food. This is not enough. And then I ate that, and then it wasn't also enough. I said, something's weird. I don't know what's happening. But sometimes it's very strange. What we contemplate on, that also happens. We don't know how it happens, but it happens. Oh, Bhagavan Ganesha has a big belly. What is his big belly? Big belly means that he's able to accommodate everything, but also that he's able to digest everything. We all know the Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasana, the process to learn, right? Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasana. And Shravanam is first, Mananam, then Nididhyasana. But how many of us truly digest what we have listened to? We have the nibbling culture. Huh? Did you read my email? No, I just scanned through it. What are you? Read it! Because some people, we send them an email, then they'll call up, they'll say, oh, but what time is there then? Did you read the email? Oh, I just scanned it. It's in the email. Read. We cannot even read anymore. So people send us messages full, I'm sure in Chinmaya newsletter, you send detailed message, everything, the event timing, the day, where it is, but I'm sure you still get calls. What time is the event? Where is the event? Do we have to bring anything for the event? I'm very sure you get calls. You put the registration link there in the email, and some people will still say, how do you register? Huh? It happens or not happens? Because we have this culture where we nibble. We scan. So you take something with your phone and then we're like this. Nobody's stopping. Did you stop? Did you read it? Did you listen to it? No, nothing. So our problem is we come now in these times where we are actually not reading. We're skimming. We're not watching. We're scanning. We're not listening, we're just casually taking things in. And because we're doing all of that, then how do we expect to digest this knowledge? We cannot digest it. Because our Shravanam itself is so weak. So our digesting means that I'm able to gain something, read it clearly, listen to it so well, absorb it, and chew on it. Not just that, but chew on it. Think about it a little bit. Think about it. Mull over it. And slowly digest it. And when we digest this knowledge, then it becomes one with us. Because what is mukti? Mukti is not just knowledge. Mukti is the digestion of knowledge. Knowledge becoming one with us. And this is Bhagavan Ganesha's big belly. That knowledge has become one with us. Gurudev gives a very nice example. I love this example because it shows what it is, what we are like. He says, have you ever eaten your favorite chocolate, but with a wrapper? Huh? Have you ever eaten your favorite chocolate, but with a wrapper? Now imagine, would you be able to digest that chocolate with a wrapper? No, right? So what we are doing when we casually scan, when we casually skim, when we casually take things in, it's like eating chocolate with a wrapper. We cannot digest it. Unwrap the chocolate. Give it our full attention, our full concentration, our full focus. And then eat the chocolate and see how well it digests. So Bhagavan Ganesha's stomach is the ability to really digest and become one with that knowledge. Now, having become one with that knowledge, how does he live in the world? So how does he live in the world? He lives with one leg up, one leg down. This is how he lives as a Jivan Mukta. One leg united ever with that reality, and one leg serving the world, being in and through the world, in and through all beings. But what that also means is that his mind is surrendered to his intellect. So one leg up, one leg down means the mind has surrendered to the intellect. What is the implication of this? You see, there in Bhagavad Gita, there is something called Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Right? Have you heard this? Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. That intellect with a firm resolve. That intellect with a firm resolve can do anything. Nothing can stop it. But what tries to stop it is the mind. The mind wants to go to so many places. The intellect might have the infinite as its goal. The mind may have infinite goals. So the intellect is saying, I must come to Chinmaya for satsang and I must be on time. The mind is, oh, but maybe I can sleep a little later today, or maybe I can meet my friend instead, or maybe I can do a quick grocery run. They won't really know, Swamiji's not here today. Maybe I can do all of these things instead of come. And so the mind just goes in different directions all the time. And the intellect is the one that says, no, this is what I'm going to do. So that mind which can fold itself up and say, okay, intellect, I surrender, that combination is that Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Then this person can live in the world peacefully. Tell me, when you're going on vacation, right? Now, what happens? First of all, to decide where to go. Where to go is a very big thing. One person will say, we'll go to Bahamas. One person will say, again, Bahamas, no, I want to go somewhere else. I want to go to Mexico. Another person will say, no, not Mexico. Let's go to Brazil. There's so many things. And then, once you decide, okay, where are we going to go? Bahamas. Okay, once you decide Bahamas, then very easy. You book the flight, you get the tickets, you get the hotel, you stay there, and you enjoy very beautifully. So this is how a Jivan Mukta lives in this world. Their intellect is so rooted in the truth, so rooted in the purpose of life, and their mind is under the control, always surrendering to it. See, the confusion comes because we have so many goals. And we strive in life to balance things. How do I balance? Work-life balance, family balance, social life balance. But Vedanta is not about balance. Vedanta, Sanatana Dharma, is a culture rooted in centering. It's a whole culture centered in the truth. Just the truth. So when we do Arati, what does it mean? Bhagavan, you are the center of my life. And when I do Arati, may I always remember that. When we go around Pradakshina, Bhagavan, you are the center in life. And when I go around, let me always remember that. So if you see in our puja, so many things are done in a circular motion. In a circular motion. Why? It's not a coincidence. It's because life is about centering. In Sanatana Dharma, the only goal is Bhagavan. There's no other goal. And so life, the whole life is to do with that alone. There's nothing else. There's nothing else. So make everything else align with that. So Bhagavan Ganesha's foot, one is rooted in the goal. This is the goal. And therefore, everything aligns with that. There's no confusion. But if we are trying to put our foot on so many things, we will be confused our entire life, and we will try to balance and move here and move there and do this and do that. And at the end of the day, we will just get stressed. Which we don't need to do. Just be rooted on that one truth, and everything else falls into place. That's Sri Ganesha. Now, let us just visualize Sri Ganesha. First with our eyes open, and then we will spend a moment in silence thinking about him. So first, we come to Bhagavan Sri Ganesha. With his big head, meaning actually a large vision, able to see divinity in all beings. His curved trunk, the one that's able to be adaptable, and adaptable in both cases, at the level of the gross and the subtle, and is able to discriminate amidst the gross and the subtle. Then we have his tusks, which one is broken, indicating he is Ekadanta or Dvandvatita. He's gone beyond dualities. He has these large ears, indicating that he knows how to listen, and he listens to the highest truth. He has two upper arms, one telling us to detach from the lower, then as the axe, and the rope telling us to attach to the higher. And when we do that, we achieve Manaprasada, symbolized by the Modaka. Whenever we live life towards the higher, we become peaceful. And when we become peaceful, we are then eligible for his blessings, which comes through Atma Kripa, Ishvara Kripa, Guru Kripa, Shastra Kripa, and Mukti. And that Mukti is nothing but a full digestion of knowledge, that knowledge becoming one with us completely. And when that knowledge becomes one with us, then how do we live our life? One foot always rooted in that divinity, and one foot surrendered to it. The intellect always rooted in divinity, the mind surrendered to it. And thus, life becomes meaningful, beautiful, centered in divinity, which alone is the sole purpose of our lives. And that is what Sri Ganesha teaches us. So close your eyes. We'll just chant for a few moments and feel Bhagavan Ganesha in your heart. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. 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 Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om.